Brian Powell of Run Far here with Adam Campbell after his third place finish at the 2014 Hardrock. How are you?
No, I'm yeah, feeling good. I had a little sleep, which made a world, and brushed my teeth, which are pretty much two of the most important things to do after a race, in my opinion. Yeah, you got to like grit in your mouth. It's nice to get rid of that and catch a little shut eye after being awake for 34 hours. It's sleep of the dead for a bit there.
Yeah, you were just out.
I was just out. Yeah, I think it was qualifies more as a coma than a sleep. But yeah,
you had to get the grit out of your teeth, but you showed a lot of grit out there yesterday and. Actually, today still.
Yeah, it's today. Yeah, I know. Yeah, today,
time definitely blends.
It was yesterday and today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you went out pretty aggressively. I mean, the very start you were kind of off the front.
Yeah.
And then fell back. I mean, not out of contention, obviously, but back in like the 8th, 9th place kind of range. What was going on early?
Yeah, so I mean, at the start of the race, I just like to roll with it a little bit, and you know, the first, I'm going hard, but it's really not all that fast. And there's a big group of us, and we were swapping out leads, and it's fun and social, and it's amazing to be running with some of the best ultra runners in the world, and incredible surroundings, and just get a lot of pleasure and joy from that. And also, you know, with ultras, sometimes, you know, if it feels good, just roll with it. But then what happened after that is, I've been at sea level. You know, I just haven't done any kind of altitude prep. And heading up Oscar's Pass, it really hit me really hard. I felt completely punched at the top. And I kind of knew that coming in. But
in which sense? Was it energy or was it
just really low energy?
Okay.
You know, my diaphragm started to feel really tight, and every time I would drink, I'd hyperventilate a little bit because I just couldn't get enough oxygen.
While you were climbing? Yeah.
Well, I was climbing, yeah. And it was quite exposed and hot there as well. And yeah, so I suffered a little bit up there.
So what was going through your head then? I mean, like here you are, like the first like major climb on the course, and it's hot, and you're suffering from altitude problems. How do you like keep it positive?
Well, I mean, I knew coming into the race that it potentially could be an issue, and I mean, my first goal was just to finish. And the other thing with ultras too is you'll go through rough patches, and it may hit early, and so I was like, okay, it's potentially just a rough patch. And I figured out a couple little things as I was going up the pass as to how to manage the altitude. You know, like I was taking smaller sips, not a big gulp like I normally would, so it wasn't...
you weren't stopping your breathing for an extra cycle.
Yeah, and you know, you just end up listening to your own, go at your own rhythm, go at your own pace, and there's still a lot of running left, and yeah, it's still beautiful, you know, even when you're suffering. I mean, you know, suffering in beautiful places, right? It makes the suffering a little bit easier.
This is a particularly beautiful place.
It really is.
So when did you start getting your legs back under you?
Oh, as I ran off into the next aid station, I felt good again, and then from the rest of the day, it was just ran my own race and just felt steady. You know, just sort of, it sounds kind of corny, but just sort of executed my game plan perfectly. You know, I was on top of nutrition all day, which is critical.
And for a 100 miler, what does that look like for you? And a long, this is like time-wise a long 100
This is a long 100 miler, yeah. So it's mostly shop blocks and ginger chews. I love ginger chews.
As a food source, not just as a,
Yeah, so I sort of mix those in a little baggie and I pull them out whenever I need them. I was trying to take gels at the start, but the gels just weren't sitting well with me today. So I ditched the gels and would just eat the real food at the aid stations. And I'd also have some Coke and some other food replacement drinks as well.
Yeah.
And for me, that always works really well.
Like when you're out on the trail, like are you aiming for a certain amount of food an hour, or?
No, I just try to eat something about every 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah. You know, even if it's just a shop block at the time. But I'm really diligent about doing that throughout the day, and it just keeps my energy pretty consistent. Yeah. And then I'll eat a little bit more at aid stations. Yeah.
Gotcha. So where were you about mid-race? Like you, right? Not quite mid-race, but before the big climb up to engineer.
Ure, I was just in front of Scott Jaime on the way out of Ure.
So you weren't quite with Tim and...
No, I think
you passed Tim by that
I passed Tim at that point, yeah. I passed Tim and also... I passed Tim and Joe, and Scott all through that section.
Was it an eye-opener to sort of see... I'm sure with Tim and Joe, you both saw that there was sort of carnage. Like they weren't just in a low spot; they were hurt.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I ran with Joe for a little bit, and he told me that he was having some quad problems. He still looked like he was moving pretty well. Yeah. He was like a little lopey stride, and he was moving along. He just wasn't as aggressive on the downhills as he normally is. I mean, he normally attacks them pretty hard, and he was obviously being a bit gingerly. And Tim just looked like he was low energy. And same with Scott. It looked like Scott was maybe going through a bit of a rough patch at that point. And yeah, I mean, you expect it to happen at some point, and I was feeling good, so I took advantage of it and just started running at my own pace. Yeah.
When did you start feeling maybe that like this was going to be a good day for you? It started out not being good. When was?
Oh, I know. It actually started out good. It was just that one pass that didn't feel good. Everything else, I felt really steady all day.
So one patch just set you back in terms of the field, but it wasn't a lot of time.
It probably saved my race in retrospect too, because I wasn't chasing the front guys. I was like, okay, I have to commit to running my own run today, and whatever that means at the end of the day is what I'll be happy with. So yeah. So sometimes you change expectations as you're running, and probably was for the better in the long term, because I do get a bit aggressive. I do get excited to be up at the front and going for it a little bit. Yeah, no, exactly. It's an honor. It's a treat to be up there, right? Like it's special.
At this race, you're running with Killian at the start. I mean, KT, when I saw you, I think you and him were, Yeah,
and Julien was right there as well. Yeah, so it's a real pleasure. I mean, these are some of the greatest athletes to ever do the sport.
I mean, they're people you know, but you still got to think like, wow, here I am with.
Every time I do it, it's a real treat. It's an honor to be out there with him. Seb as well, and Kabaraki wasn't with us, but same thing, to have people like that in the sport at the start line, it's special for sure.
Yeah. You came through the first day. Day starts turning to night. You're at Grouse Gulch, one of the lower aid stations. Knowing you got to go over Handy's Peak to Burroughs Park aid station. You look up. How does the sky look?
Oh, the sky looked beautiful. Yeah. That was actually an interesting part, because I just passed Dakota, and as I ran into that aid station, I saw that Seb was lying down, and all of a sudden I was in third place in the race. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I mean, this is more than I expected for the day, but I also was, well aware of the fact that there was carnage. And it meant that I did have to take care of myself. The day was still early, but yeah, heading up, I knew it was going to be a long grunt of a climb, and I just set in. I was running with Aaron Height, my pacer at that point, and we just set into a nice, steady climbing rhythm, and something I figured I could hold for quite a long time, and weren't ever getting too aggressive, and just admiring the views. And the skies were spectacular, and slowly you could watch the weather start rolling in, and skies were turning beautiful.
There's sort of like two passes. There's like not a real pass, but there's a sort of a pass where you come into American Basin.
Yeah.
When you get there, do you see like, oh shit?
No, not at all. No. American Basin, it was still totally clear. It wasn't until Aaron and I were climbing up the ridge towards Handy's, yeah. Handy, sorry. I'm a little sleepy still. As we were heading up the last ridge towards Handy's, that we noticed that the lightning was really starting to roll in, but it was off in the distance still. It looked like it was over the basin at that point.
Okay.
And so Aaron and I decided that we were already a pretty exposed area, so we figured our best option is just to move as quickly as possible to get up and over Handy's and back into shelter, and hopefully avoid the worst of the storm. I mean, we were getting wet, but the sky was just stunning. It was beautiful. We were sitting there staring in wonder at the skies. We're trying to like get over this mountain, but slowly we could see the electrical storms rolling in closer and closer.
The rain started pounding down.
The rain was pounding down, and you're all you get a little summit fever too. You're right there. You're like, let's just get up there. Let's just get this over with. Yeah.
And you count on how close the lightning is, and.
Yeah, no, we were, but the lightning was still off a little ways until we were probably 200 meters from the summit, and all of a sudden we saw the summit get struck by lightning.
So you're 200 meters from the summit, and you're looking up at it because that's the way the path goes.
Yeah, and everything else around us is exposed. There's no shelter where we were, and so you can't run down anywhere. So we figured our best bet was to, just sort of, they don't tend, they sort of cycle through a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured we had a few minutes. We waited for the next lightning strike, and then we just tried to book it over the summit. And it didn't quite work out that way.
Because?
Aaron and I got struck by lightning, quite literally. I was actually just talking to JB Bennett, and he has it on film. He has the entire. There's like a big spider web lightning strike over the entire summit. So it wasn't a direct hit. Mm-hmm. It was something bounced up and hit us. Aaron got hit in the back of the head, and I got hit, and my headlamp got hit, and we both got knocked to the ground.
Just literally.
Literally, yeah. And Aaron could feel tingling, and just everything around us you just smelled electricity in the air.
Your headlamp battery got.
Yeah, headlamp battery got fried, and it was terrifying. But we both sort of looked at each other. It was pouring rain, still lightning going on all around us, And we both looked at each other like, "Are you okay?" After some few expletives, we were like, "Are you okay?" Yes. Are you okay?
Do you have any toilet paper?
Yeah. And so we both had spare headlamps in our backpacks, and but we just decided we got to just get out of here. We're not going to toy around with them because they were under our jackets. So I was like, "Aaron, you just get behind me. You shine the trail, and we're just going to get off here as quickly as possible." So Aaron just got right on my back, and got the light on the trail, and we booked it out of there like really fast. It was actually, it would have been cool to see. It was like a really cool tango with lights behind us going down. But terrified. I mean, terrifying.
I mean, like when you fall, it's one thing. Like you fall, you hit something, and you have this like the adrenaline reaction. You kind of get pumped, but you also get scared of like what's going on. How badly are you hurt? Like you didn't even have time to assess the situation. You said
we could both tell that we were fine. Like we both checked to make sure we were both okay. Because if one of us had actually been hurt, it would have been horrible. Like I don't know.
It's a very, very, very long way.
It would be a very long way, exactly. We had a space blanket. If you want to put a space blanket on something in an electrical storm, I was like, So
next time, just bring a plastic bag.
Yeah, no, it would have been a real problem. So we were both really, really fortunate. And it was a great story at the end of the day too.
And how do you get your head back in the game? Because for a while, you're still gonna be you're trying to run away or run off this. Handy's Peak.
We ran so fast. It was probably one of the faster segments I ran all day, getting out of there. But I don't know, we just sort of, we both figured we were both okay, and that's part of the experience of this race. It is big mountain environment, and with big mountains, you get big weather.
Yeah.
And, we made the right call, in my opinion, in terms of what we should have done. We just got unlucky with the odds of getting struck by lightning or, it's like, winning the lottery, better odds of that, right? So,
yeah, but then 3 people right behind you decided no.
Yeah.
And
but they were somewhere where they could get shelter.
They could.
We weren't somewhere where we could get shelter.
Yeah, you were literally on top of a huge exposed mountain.
Exactly.
Nothing you can do.
Yeah, so the only
either you can crouch or run like hell.
Yeah, and running like hell is what we do. So,
Your escape plan fitted your skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you race off the mountain, you run really fast. At some point, you say to yourself, "Oh, I should dial back the excitement from the experience and get back to just your controlled effort." You were running to that point.
Yeah, we were both actually really cold as well. We were shivering, so it was we just wanted to get to the next aid station, and then we sort of hit reboot when we got to the next aid station. But I got some chicken broth in me at that point, and we pulled out the different headlamps, and so that was just a good little mental turning point at that point. Yeah.
And how did you feel through the rest of the race? Because you're in third and.
Yeah, I had some highs and lows as you do in these things, but for the most part, it was just pretty steady. I had great pacers and great friends, in Aaron Height and Gary Robbins, and they did an excellent job of just enjoying the experience, which is ultimately what it's all about. And it just helping me stay really present and mindful about what I was doing throughout the entire run, and really enjoyed it. And Aaron helped a lot with route finding because none of us had seen the course before.
Yeah.
So that was a bit interesting as well. It's for people who don't know, the course is not well marked. Like it just is.
And it is explicitly stated in the guide. This is a sparsely marked course.
No,
it's
exactly.
Graduate level.
Yeah.
Know the course.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, so we just made sure we took our time throughout the day. If we had any doubts about where to go, we would stop, check, assess, make sure that we were going in the right direction. Because I've heard horror stories where people getting lost for hours.
We've talked to Joe Grant, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. Joe Grant. Yeah, it's and Joe knows the course better than anybody. So if he gets lost here, it can happen to anybody for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird dynamic here that it's only a 140 person race in this ridiculously remote environment. And this year, it was just amongst the highest level ultra competition you're going to see anytime, anywhere this year.
Yeah.
What's it like finishing third? I mean, finishing third at Hardrock, you finish Hardrock, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But finishing third with this great field that.
Oh yeah.
Is it like the best performance you think of your ultra running career, or?
I think probably the best. Yeah, it was probably the best run I've ever had in terms of just executing my day perfectly. Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting. When these big ultras, 100-milers, become races, you're going to have carnage. You're going to have people who succeed. You're going to have people who fill up because people are going for it. And there's also there's different pressures and stresses on the race that some people will have good days and some people have bad days when you're really going for it in races, and that's sort of the new ultra running.
Yeah, it's not just one guy who can go out every year and just run a strong conservative race and win it most years.
I think his name's Killian. Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, what's it? Honestly, I mean, I'm sure he's one of your friends or acquaintances, but like, you finish, you hear he sets this ridiculous record, and it's kind of like goofing off along the way at times.
Oh no, it's amazing. It's an honor to be in the sport with him. He was talking about doing a race on Thursday if he feels recovered enough. You know, a vertical kilometer of all things. You know, go from one extreme to the other. But that's just, yeah, he's a special person, you know, on a lot of levels, and we're really lucky to have him in the sport. And it's great to see. He shows us what the sport can be and what the level can be. He's very meticulous. He's also very professional.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at the splits during the race, in that last 25-mile section, he's taken 10 or 12 minutes in an aid station, but he doesn't carry much food. He's sitting there eating, eating a ton, taking care of his gear.
No, and I mean, he was using poles through different stretches and things like that. Like, he's very kind of, but that's also his approach. I mean, he doesn't let things phase him. You know, he enjoys the experience and he takes some joy in it. But I mean, that's part of how he succeeds at competing as well.
I mean, that's an interesting point. Like, I see Killian taking pictures with people on the course, or giving 5, and like, he draws a lot of energy from people.
Oh, absolutely.
And Timothy Olsen draws it from his family and the mountains.
Yeah.
Where do you find your energy during a 100-mile race? What gets you going?
Yeah, you know, it really varies throughout the day. We have a finisher coming in. We have some finishers coming in.
Let's take a little break here. Let's cheer this on.
Here.
Corey! Yeah, Hummer baby!
Awesome. Nice work.
Are you as goofy as you were when you came across KT?
I'll tell you what.
Woo! Nice work. Awesome.
Man, goosebumps.
That's incredible. They had some pretty horrible weather this afternoon too. That was some vicious lashing rain out there.
Yeah, they got hit twice.
Yeah, that's serious respect to everybody who's still out there. That's incredible.
So you're talking about where you get your energy from.
Yeah, I get my energy from different places throughout different races. Sometimes it'll be an inspirational view. Sometimes it'll be the fact that I am running against fantastic other runners. Other times it'll, I will think about friends or family, or it varies a lot. But ultimately, it's a real joy of competing and being able to be in these incredible settings. And I realize it's a real privilege to have a certain amount of talent to be able to compete at a high level doing them, and to have found a sport that is so amazing. It really is a very welcoming family.
I mean, because you've been an endurance athlete for a very long time.
I have, yeah. I mean, I used to do triathlon at a high, like a world-class level in the World Cup circuit, and that's a high-performance sport. Like, it's different. You're friends with people on the circuit, but it's also your profession. I mean, that's what you're doing. It's a little bit cutthroat at times, and it's very meticulous. Whereas there's a lot more of a mountain feel to this, which is, a little bit more casual. There's a bigger appreciation for the places that you're competing in. A lot of times we'd fly into a city, stay in a hotel room, trying to rest, you do your race, and then leave the very next day. On to the next city. And so you never would actually check them.
And even though you are leaving tomorrow, you really would like to probably spend another week here.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I spent 36 hours out there the last couple of days. So yeah.
But that's actually a great transition to. You've had a very sort of topsy-turvy personal life in terms of your career. You were an attorney. You wanted to be a professional, athlete full time.
I was an athlete. Then
you're an athlete again. Then you sort of did not part time, but you went back to professional work. And starting on Tuesday, you get to be legal counsel at Arc'teryx.
Yeah, I get to go and work with their regulatory team there. It's it's pretty special for sure. Yeah.
Just getting to mix that sort of a company with a mountain heritage and a professional setting job that gives you other purpose and meaning. And
no, absolutely. And I found when I was a full-time athlete that I'd done that at one stage of my life, and when I went back to doing it, I just it was almost too much pressure on the sport to a certain degree. Like, you had to be a professional again doing it. So I lost a little bit of the joy of the sport, of just being out there and participating. And I felt like, not that anybody put pressure on me, it was all self-imposed, but I felt like I had a lot of obligations. Whereas now I'm a lot more free to, like, I love racing, but I don't race as much as a lot of people, for instance.
Yeah.
So I can choose the races I want to do. Nobody tells me what races I have to go do, which I love. You know, it's great. I can come and do Hardrock, and then a couple weeks later I can go and do a 50K road race if I wanted to, you know, go and do a track meet. It's just I can sort of play and go do skimo racing in the winter. I get to play. Yeah, I get to play now.
When and where you want.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, I still do have sponsor obligations and everything. You know, and I've been with Hardrock for a long time, and they're a wonderful company. I can't wait to work with them in a more professional capacity. But it is nice to sort of to have that other aspect of release, I guess you'd call it almost. But then I love the cerebral aspect of working. I like the structure it gives me on my day-to-day life, and it does give me a sense of purpose as well. So.
I think there, like, over the last couple of years, maybe like 2-3 years at most, there have been a couple athletes who've gone that way from a sort of professional background to, I'm going to do the mountain ultra trail, whatever you want to call the different aspects of it, full time, and it doesn't work out well that first year.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, have you ever read the Tyler Hamilton book? I mean, it's interesting. It becomes your métier. You know, it's like it's your profession. Like you have to learn how to make it a profession. If you want to do it as your job, if you want it to be sustainable lifestyle, there's certain things you have to do. I mean, like Scott Jurek works hard. You know, he's out doing book tours all the time. He doesn't get to play in the mountains as much as he probably wants to. You know, the same thing with, like, you take Sebastien Chinot. That guy's always on it on social media. Killian's the same way. I mean, Killian has more obligations than anybody. And
I'm sure he has tables and checklists and things that he has to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he does he segments it throughout the year. You know, he makes sure he has his personal time and his private time to go and do his own objectives. But he's out writing books, making movies, you know, doing autograph sessions. He's doing interviews all the time. It is a full-time job for him, for sure. He's a professional athlete. Yeah. And that transition. The other thing I think that's hard for people who come from professional lives and then try to do it full-time is you might be a little bit older and you used to certain comforts in life. Yeah. And all of a sudden you have to give those up. You know, not that material possessions are everything, but, you know, once you do become accustomed to a certain style of life, a lot of your friends are in that circle already and things as well. And it can be hard to take a step back.
Not to be materialistic, but it's just you're doing what you're doing. Like, it's different if you're a Dakota or Anton who've come from, you know, school and then go straight into the mountain lifestyle. Where, I mean, I saw the back of Dakota's truck today, and there's a mattress in the back, and Tony's the same way. Like,
no, absolutely. You know, it's a lifestyle that's it definitely suits people that are a bit younger, and if you've done it for a large part of your life, it's easier to maintain it. But once you've moved out of your truck and into a house, it's harder to go back to the truck after. Yeah, you know, not, like, the truck's great. I sleep in my car all the time, but
I sleep in a Prius as well as a lot. But it's also nice to have a home.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. You know, if you have a family, if that's one of your considerations as well, you know, it's a really big call to have to tell your family, look, I'm leaving this, you know, secure job to go and be a professional athlete where I get injured in my first race, blow my season. What do?
You might not get renewed the next year.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you can't make yourself relevant outside of just racing, but it's hard, for sure. Yeah.
That was great. But getting back to the race, like, Hardrock has a, you know, reputation as the beautiful race and a hard race. What surprised you about Hardrock yesterday?
Surprised me. Like, it's wild. Like, it is pure mountain. Like, it's wilderness. It's potentially dangerous. You know, like, it could be, I mean, in our case, it could have potentially been lethal. Like, you are expected to be self-sufficient out there. You are expected to know how to handle yourself in a mountain environment, and the trails are a lot of times not trails, you know, like, you're sort of running through, it's more like fell running in places. Mm-hmm. You're running up massive peaks. Like, it's, I think it was more just the randomness of the course markings. You know, not that they're surprised, but it's, you know, you expect it, but you also don't expect it.
Yeah, when you're up there and you have to look across the meadow for a little reflector
in the middle of the night. Yeah,
in a pouring rain.
Yeah, you're cold and tired, and so I think that's probably the most surprising bit. The other bit I found surprising was just, you know, there's actually quite a lot of people on the course. Like, there's a lot more spectators and people out in the elements cheering us on, that was a real pleasure. I expected to actually be more lonely out there than it was. Yeah.
So even if there weren't, you know, in number a ton of people, they were dispersed enough along the course to...
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there are people... It's interesting. There's people who have an appreciation for what Hardrock is and what people are out there doing. which is like, and then you also cross the ATVers and stuff like that, which is a different crowd. But yeah, not that much. But no, it's that was a real treat to see all the people on the course that are out there to cheer us on and who've hiked in like far to make that happen. That's pretty special.
Yeah, I know it's only a couple hours after your great run here. What do you think your biggest personal takeaway will be from what you did this weekend?
Biggest personal takeaway?
Like what will you value the most from this?
Value the most? Well, one, it's it's just the overall experience. I mean, I shared incredible moments with both Aaron and Gary.
Mm-hmm.
So you develop a special bond with people through that kind of suffering and that kind of. Especially with Aaron, being struck by lightning, that's something that's pretty clever. We were doing an interview at the finish line, and he kissed me, it was like, yeah, it was like, that felt pretty real.
I'm not dead.
Yeah, no, exactly, that felt pretty real. So I think that bond will be really strong, and being able to share those memories with good friends was really, really special. And just the scenery and the people that come to these races here, I just love the attitude of people at the events. It's a wonderful, wonderful community of people, for the most part. No, I was kidding. Yeah, no, the people are fantastic, and the town of Silverton has been very, very welcoming as well, which is wonderful. And I can't believe that the parks let them put on a race in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
I love it. I wish more parks would allow it, but yeah, that's definitely the type of racing I like to do. That was awesome. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on a great race, and keep enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, best of luck to everybody still out there. Mad respect to everybody.
We it's a little unconventional. We're set up here in a road, but we want to be out here. We want to cheer on those. Yeah. I mean, the final runners. There's still.
I know. I'm coming back at 5:30 to cheer on the last people for sure.
Still 9.5 hours left in this race.
Incredible.
There's another night.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's mad respect for those people that are out there. Like me. That's a whole other level of mental toughness. Yeah. So.
A bonus question for you, Adam.
Right.
I know a lot of people talk about wanting a beer at a finish line, and they never drink it. You had a beer 5 minutes afterward. How did you?
Yeah, I'm Team Canuck, right? We had to drink beer. Yeah, that's just what we do.
You got your beer growing in?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, well, I mean, I did give myself a beer shower as well, so I didn't actually finish the beer. So there was a party foul there for sure.
But it made for a good photo.
Exactly, yeah. No, that was a really good beer, actually. Thank you very much.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, no, where's it from? California?
That was a California.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Summer IPA.
It was good. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I don't normally drink beer at 8 o'clock in the morning either.
Well, I've kind of come up with a rule.
Yeah.
If you're still up after midnight at a race,
fair enough. Yeah,
it's actually like 32 o'clock.
Oh, that's a good point. So, yeah, I've been up since 4 a.m. So yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, no, wonderful.
There you go.
Yeah, excellent. Great.